Hello Year 4s and welcome back. In the previous few lessons, we've been brainstorming and we've started writing our new folk tales. We also had a fun lesson where you didn't have to choose what your characters or your setting or your moral was. You got to roll a dice and just see what you could come up with and write. So thank you for all of those of you who have been doing it and have been sharing your stories with us online. Today, we are going to be doing a bit of editing. So before you write your final piece of writing, you are going to be editing the bit that you have written in the previous lesson. I'm going to go through some of the editing tools that we need to remember when we are editing our writing. Please make sure that you have a pen or a piece of paper and a pencil next to you so you can make note of these. When you go and edit your work, you are also going to need either, I know that a lot of you won't have purple polishing pens like we have at school, but if you have a pencil crayon of a different color, you can use that. Or if one of your adults at home has a different color pen that they will let you use, you can go and ask them. So please go now and get your piece of writing that you did in the previous lesson, and then a different color pen or pencil to edit your work with. And have those with you when we are reading through your story. You will also need, if you have a dictionary at home, please go and use those, or you can use an online dictionary, so you will pause the video and have a look using your dictionary. So go and get all the things that you need and then come back and join me. We are going to look at this this PowerPoint on how to edit our work. So follow along with me. Have a look at this sentence. It has 2 spelling mistakes. Can you find them and correct them? So take a minute now, read through the sentence and see if you can notice where the spelling mistakes are. As I walked down the road, walked is spelled incorrectly. It's walked. I saw a green car racing towards me. So you can see that the incorrectly spelled word is saw. So we cross it out using a ruler and we neatly write the correct spelling above it. Well done. Moving on to the next page. There are 4 mistakes in this sentence. In these sentences, can you correct them? Now I've made it a little bit more difficult here, so I want to see if you can spot all 4 mistakes. So pause the video now and see if you can see them. If we read the first sentence, it says, the small cat was sitting on the wall. You will see that actually small is spelled incorrectly, so we're going to cross that out, correctly spell it above. Was, although it sounds phonetically correct, we know that that's not how we spell it. So we're going to cross it out and we're going to correct it above. The next sentence, the cat looked at the mouse below and licked its lips. Licked is spelled incorrectly. We've used a U instead of an I. Looked is spelled incorrectly. And we need to put double O instead of a U. So the cat looked at the mouse below and licked its lips. So now you know there's one more, and this was a bit of a difficult one. The incorrect one is actually its. So you can see there is a comma there, and that is actually showing me that if we put a comma there, it will usually be it is or it has, and that is not what we are using here. So when we are using the apostrophe, like I said, it is usually for it is or it has. So it's a nice day. It's your right to refuse an invitation. So it is a nice day. It is your right. It has been great getting to know you. It's been great getting to know you. This one is not showing you this. This is when we are showing that it belongs to something. So the cat licked its lips. So there is actually no apostrophe. So for example, we would also use the saying, the cat hurt its paws. It wouldn't have a little punctuation mark. So well done if you noticed that. Whenever you finish writing your piece of writing, make sure that you read it back to yourself and correct any spelling mistakes that you notice. It is always good to read this out loud and see if it makes sense. So making sure that your sentence structure is correct and also that you've used the correct spellings of things. Like I said to you, you can use a dictionary to help you do this. Sometimes when we are writing, we can forget to put punctuation in capital letters. So have a look at this sentence and see if you can spot what is missing. So pause the video, have a read through and see what's missing. The sentence says, I love going to the park when it's sunny. I could stay there all day. I can see that there is a capital letter at the beginning of my sentence, so that's correct. I can also see there's a full stop at the end of my sentence, so that's also correct. It must be a problem in the middle of my sentence. So let me have a look. I love going to the park when it's sunny. That's a whole sentence. So that should be with a full stop at the end. And then, well, you could do it either way, actually. Then you could put a full stop there and say, I could stay there all day. Or you could correctly say, or you could say, I love going to the park, full stop, capital letter for a W, when it's sunny, comma, I could stay there all day. Because when it's sunny is obviously a fronted adverbial. And you've punctuated that correctly. And I've also capitalized the I because it's referring to me. So either one of those corrections would be correct. So you could say, I love going to the park when it's sunny, full stop. I, with a capital I, could stay there all day. Or you could say, I love going to the park, full stop. When it's sunny, it is sunny, comma, I, with a capital I, could stay there all day. So I want you to look at this one. What punctuation is missing in these sentences? Tom looked down at the dragon. It had green scales and was blowing fire out through its nose. Tom didn't know what to do next. Pause the video, see if you can correctly correct that sentence. Right. This is the correction of the punctuation in that sentence. Tom looked down at the dragon, full stop. It, with a capital letter because it's the beginning of the new sentence, had green scales and was blowing fire out of its nose, full stop. Tom, because it's a name, it is also at the beginning of the sentence, has a capital letter, didn't know what to do next. And then we have the full stop at the end of that. Notice that I don't have capital letters in the middle of my words. I don't have them on random words. I have them on the words that need them. So we've got names and the beginning of sentences. We also need to edit our work and make it more interesting. And this is something that I always try and say to you. Make sure when you are reading through that it is exciting, that you are using interesting vocabulary that I know that you are able to do. So if we look here, it says, there once was a man who lived alone in the forest. Every day he walked through the forest collecting wood off the floor. And that's an okay sentence. It's a lovely start to a story. You know that's the beginning because I've said there once was a man who lived in a forest. Maybe that's the start of my folk tale. But I know that I can use far more exciting language. So let's look at how I've corrected it or made it better. I've said there once was an old crooked man, and actually I should have put a comma in between old and crooked. There once was an old crooked man who lived alone deep in the forest. So I haven't just said that he lived alone in the forest, I've said he lived deep in the forest. Every day he strolled. I didn't just say walk, I tried to get a more of an exciting word. He strolled. He's got not a care in the world. He's strolling through the forest. He strolled through the forest, collecting small pieces of wood and branches. Instead of just saying he was collecting wood. And he's collected it off the forest floor. Not just off the floor, off the forest floor. You can see by just adding a few more words and changing some of my words, I've actually made that paragraph far more interesting. So this is something I want you to think about when you are writing your stories or when you are editing them. My task to you today is the following. Go and get a dictionary. As I said before, have all the things that you need with when you are going to be editing your writing, and make better the writing that you have just done. And the folk tale or the fairy tale or whatever you have written, go and make it better, improve it, check the spelling, check the punctuation. Have you used capital letters in the correct place? Have you punctuated your fronted adverbials? Go through your writing slowly. This is not something that takes a very short time. Take some time doing this and go and check that the writing is correct and that you've used interesting vocabulary. You've made sure that you've written it correctly with the punctuation, with the capital letters, all of the things that we've been discussing, the spellings. If you are unsure of a spelling, go and check it on a dictionary or in a dictionary. If you don't have interesting words, just like a dictionary, you can have access to a thesaurus online. So make sure that you are checking all of this work. In the next lesson, we are going to be writing out your final piece of writing. So take this time now to edit through it and make sure that it is exactly what you need to be writing tomorrow when you do your hot task for writing your folk tales.